growth is coming. We have a great place to live. We have great school systems, and people want to live here. They're coming. It's growing. Without Pennies, my personal opinion, there's no way we can even have a fighting chance of keeping up with the road's infrastructure. And so with Pennies, we have the opportunity not only to prepare for the future, the citizens of York County who help select these projects and who will vote on it have a say-so in how we do it.
So Pennies for Progress is a 1-cent sales tax that's added on to all goods and services in York County. It's been in place since 1997. That was when the first referendum was passed. And there's been Pennies 2 and Pennies 3 have just been continuations of that same tax. So the tax has been in place for over 20 years. So most people probably don't even know they're paying it, but it's been in effect for a whole generation. So we collect that revenue and build roads, build projects, intersection improvements, large highway widening projects. In the past, there's been gravel road paving, and those projects are identified at the very beginning of the referendum.
3 rounds of Pennies for Progress have been passed so far, with each round lasting 7 years. The 4th round is up for vote this November, and officials are hopeful it will pass, considering past successes. However, the first round of Pennies for Progress won by less than 1% of the vote.
You know, Pennies for Progress has had a profoundly positive impact on the county. But you have to remember, we were pioneers. There was no such program. We had a commission of 6 people who had to try to figure it out. So what we did initially was we worked with the members of the county staff and got their input on what we felt like were or what they felt like were the important road projects. And so we set out and we did the best we could. They were fortunately spread around the county, and we won by less than 1%. We came back again in 2003, and you learn as you try to learn, make a science out of your business. So on the second commission, we realized the most important thing about Pennies was the fact that it belonged to the people. It wasn't a government program, it was a citizens program that they agreed to tax themselves, but they had a shopping list. So the second time, we tried to make sure that we touched every area of the county, and we got as much input as we could to come up with a list that gave them what they felt like they needed and also fit in with our mission statement. And we went around and checked and actually got some input and made some adjustments. We won the second one by 65%, I think it was. So it was a big success because at that time people finally saw the pavement hitting the road, the widening and the efforts and where we were going. Then we came back in 2011 during the greatest recession the country had seen in years, and we got 82.5% of the vote. That was the belief of the citizens.
Most of the feedback we hear is positive. Of course, there's been concerns in the past with the cost estimates, and we acknowledge those and understand those. And like I said, the best thing about mistakes is that you get to learn from them. And I feel like the county has done that.
One of the things the referendum does, or the law does, is it says that all the projects have to be put on in priority order, such that if you don't collect enough money, the projects on the bottom, the least priority, then fall off. So what we have done in this the upcoming Pennies 4, is there were 3 projects that were carried over from the 2003 referendum. We've put those at the top of the list, and we will get those cleaned up. The other thing was you make a science out of your business, and Patrick Hamilton and the staff down at York County have done that, trying to make sure that we get the most accurate estimates possible. They went out and hired one of the best consultants in the country for building roads and doing risk analysis, and they had them to go in. If everything goes within normal circumstances, we'll get the projects from the past cleaned up, and we will get all the new projects completed, and then the county can move forward, and then the program hopefully can continue for years to come.
Just look at where our county is today and the growth and the economic development York County has succeeded in. Most of that, in my opinion, can be attributed to the Pennies for Progress program. I-77 used to be a 4-lane interstate up and down I-77, 2 lanes in each direction. Pennies for Progress didn't pay for I-77 to be widened, but what the county did, once Pennies 1 passed, they went to the State Infrastructure Bank in Columbia and said, we're putting a couple $100 million into the road system in York County. What can y'all do for us? So we're able to get additional funding to be able to widen I-77 from just below Rock Hill all the way north to the state line.
As you drive around York County, for anybody that lives in Tiggy or Fort Mill, I ask you to think about this. Imagine what life would be like if Highway 160 wasn't multi-laned. Major success. Highway 274 from Lake Wylie going across down to Rock Hill to tie into 161. Booming, very important. People said, you'll never need it. It's too big, and now it's already crowded. Highway 160 across to York, the bypass, and the tie-in with Highway 5 to exit 208. I-85 created an east to west corridor all the way to Rock Hill, and someday we'll eventually tie in and go all the way to Myrtle Beach. On some of the projects, we're just adding shoulder, paved shoulder, and you say, well, why is that important? Well, for every foot of paved shoulder you add to a highway, you reduce the number of accidents statistically by 15%. The greatest thing about it is what comes from making a road safer is the one thing we'll never know, and that's the names of the lives that will be spared.